Happy April 25th, everybody, 2017. Welcome to MarketStream.live. My name is Joseph Cusick from the Cusick Group, securities offered by MoneyBlock. This is where we're going to check out all the action that's happening on the open after what was an impressive move to the upside by the bulls yesterday. As a matter of fact, I'm going to start with the Nasdaq this morning. We saw that the Nasdaq actually finished up at levels that we hadn't seen ever. If you could see this right here on the chart, we see that the Nasdaq finished the day above that 5,500 level. That's an all-time high, folks. It's trading now up 15 points, up almost 0.3% at 0.28% at 5523.60. An impressive move to the upside by the Nasdaq. That was the leader, has been the leader, and looks to continue to be the leader in this move to the upside. And the bulls really dug their heels in when they got into this no man's land, that zone that I talk about between the 20 and 50-day moving average. That's the area where the fight begins, and the bulls have taken the fight and taken it pretty hardcore. Taking a look at the Dow Jones. The Dow Jones Industrial trading up 190 points, up 9.92% at 20,955. Again, you're starting to see that there are some Dow components that are moving to the upside. Other than the catalyst yesterday, which was the French elections, a little bit of relief rally from concerns about certain candidates, specifically Marie Le Pen in France, gaining control and getting some momentum into the May 7th elections in France. Well, that's off the table. Also yesterday, the president came out and said that he wants a 15% corporate tax rate as part of the tax reform bill. That would be a huge catalyst for a lot of businesses here in the United States, and it could bring back a lot of businesses here in the United States. That's a drop from 35% currently right now on the corporate tax rate. But the battle is going to begin. We have we have a spending bill that has to get through by the end of this week. If it doesn't, government shut down. So there's a potential for some volatility, but the Dow Jones moving to the upside today. Probably its biggest catalyst is one notable name, Caterpillar. Caterpillar, which we're going to talk about in a minute, beat earnings, blew it away, 65 cents. That has Dow to the upside. We're going to check that out in a little bit. Taking a look at the S&P 500. The S&P 500, well above its 50 and its 20-day moving average on a daily chart. Taking a look at the cash settle index, the SPX. You can clearly see, again, the catalyst to the upside, earnings. Earnings right now are going to be the catalyst. And then we get into the rhetoric and also the economic data. Specifically, watch the housing starts at 10 a.m. Eastern time, and the rhetoric that's going to continue to come back now that Congress is back in session after their well-deserved rest. I say that, I know, you got it. And we are seeing that the earnings cycle is kicking up, and we're seeing some positive earnings results despite all of the political uncertainty. Speaking of political uncertainty, though, you're seeing the Russell 2000. The Russell 2000 is going to be that domestically centric index that you're going to want to watch. Any passage of any reform that the Trump administration was proposing into the election and post-election needs to start getting some reality. This index is moving to the upside because these are most sensitive to the reforms that the president is putting out there. One notable one is that on the housing sector, this could actually impact it. He still wants to, as part of his tariff reforms, a tariff on incoming lumber for construction from Canada. We're going to watch that one closely. That could impact the housing area because if there's a tariff on incoming lumber from Canada, that could increase new homes construction expenses because that lumber is going to cost more to come across the border because the Canadians are going to have to raise the price. Again, give and take. Taking a look at the volatility index, though, it actually just popped into the green for the first time that we've seen in 2 sessions. As a matter of fact, it's trading up at 1090, up 10 cents. I know that doesn't seem a lot, but this index was trading a week ago almost at the 16 and some 1620 level. 1620 level, and it's now trading 6 points lower. Huge move in a very small period of time, and we're going to watch this very closely. The dollar basically unchanged, down 2 cents right now at 99.02. Let's see if dollar weakness continues. It's flatlined since the French election, the first vote. It's so far we haven't had any data, specifically economically, and as earnings start to come in, let's see if the dollar trade starts to pick up, as well as the tax reform, and finally taking a look at, as we had talked about, that spending bill here in the States that has to get done by the end of the week. Crude oil down 17 cents. This is going to be the battleground, folks. We talked about this last night, 49 bucks. Challenge of $49 means that we could see 46 pretty quickly. Watch the inventory reports this week. We'll be talking about those on Wednesday and Thursday. Brent crude, again, challenging that base too. The 200-day moving average seems to be the base right now. Watching 51.60 down 36 cents. Watch any news that's notable coming out of the OPEC nations and non-OPEC nations, especially about whether or not they're concerned that there are certain countries that are not adhering to the production cuts. Taking a look at the bonds are still pulling off. I don't know how much longer this is going to last. The reason why they say that is because looking at the 2-year, the 10-year, and the 30-year, the one thing that's notable is that they're all falling in price, but the yields. We did see that the 10-year yield, as a matter of fact, if I scroll down a little bit here, I can bring up the 10-year yield if I can get down there fast enough. The 10-year yield right now is trading above 230, right at 230 as a matter of fact. What does that mean for you as traders? Anybody that is bearish on bonds, they want to see that yield, this interest rate, continue to move to the upside. Now, again, we're going to have the ECB meeting this week. There are going to be a lot of statements about what their continuation or non-continuation of their programs over there as far as capital infusion. But the U.S. Treasury market, when the 10-year dropped below 230, that was not a positive. As a matter of fact, it got to 220. That's a level that you want to watch on the yield. That was where bonds were really starting to raise in price. Obviously, we had an uncertainty trade going on. Trump policies weren't going through. You have geopolitical issues in France, going to be in Germany, and as well as England. And you're seeing some uncertainty start to arise in China. So with that being said, while we don't see the volatility anymore, but we're seeing bonds still hold up, we want to see this yield start to move to the upside again. It's come down pretty significantly from 260, where we saw it earlier this year in March. It's now come all the way down. Let's see if it holds. It's challenging its 20-day moving average right now above that 230 mark. If it holds above there, the bond bears could be gaining some traction. That means that money is rotating out of that safety asset and into potentially securities. Now, just taking a look at a few quick names. As I mentioned, CAT is up $6.61. The estimated move that was being priced in for this stock going into earnings and for the remainder of this week was around $4.65. It blew it off the charts. Well, and rightfully so. The stock beat earnings by 65 cents. Very solid earnings. We'll watch that one. You also saw Biogen. Biogen is up $14, up 5% at $290.94 after better than expected earnings. You're also seeing 3M. 3M is actually down $161. There was decent earnings, but I think there's going to be some concern with 3M. Obviously, that's being shown down 0.7%, down $1.36. Let's see if that continues and maybe weighs on the Dow Industrial. Taking a look at DuPont. DuPont's up $239 at $81.76. That's a 3% pop on earnings. Beat, and we're going to watch that one closely, another component of the Dow. Looking at Corning, ticker symbol GLW, up 82 cents. That's almost good for 3%, 2.98%. That's a nice move after earnings. And McDonald's, good old golden arches, up 3.37% at $138.76. That's a $4.53 pop in McDonald's. Earnings look very solid. Consumer continues to be strong. Well, let's watch the global growth story as well. That could all be a positive. And the weakness in the dollar, that means that keeps commodity prices lower. We'll watch all of this as the market chugs along. All right, folks, that's it for On the Open here in the U.S. And there's some hot stuff going on. Let's keep our powder dry, stay smart. Join me for Strategy Now, where I show you how you can deploy some specific strategies that are going to help you maximize your investment capital, minimize risk. We'll see you then at 1:30 Eastern Time, 12:30 Central Time. Strategy Now here at MarketStream.live.